Ladies and gentlemen, federal employees, today we're talking about, does your FEHB in retirement work like a Medicare supplement would for a non-federal employee? We're going to talk about all of that, the best strategies that people use being on Medicare and FEHB at the same time. And if you're new here, so good to have you. My name is Dallin Hawes. I'm a financial planner who serves federal employees just like you every single day and to help you guys get the most out of your retirement and to retire confident. So let's dive in. Long story short, as federal employees, as you know, one of your best benefits is FEHB, your health insurance that as long as you're eligible, you can take into retirement and keep with you for you and your spouse for the rest of your life, which is massive. It's a massive, massive benefit. However, you may be talking to your non-Fed friends, and maybe you're around 65 when some of your friends are getting on Medicare, and they're talking about getting on a Medicare supplement, right? They have Medicare, but they also have an additional plan, like a Medicare Advantage plan, supplement. There's lots of different, a Medigap plan, there's lots of different names for the different types of plans out there that non-federal employees use to supplement Medicare. Because here's the deal, Medicare A and B are what most people get on, and sometimes they get on Part C or D depending on the situation, but long story short, as federal employees, really, the only ones you really want to consider are A and B. Now, Part D has some benefits for some people that have very high prescription drug costs, so if you do have that, maybe look at Part D. But outside of those, the vast majority of FEHB plans covers what Part D does anyway. You're only going to want to look at Part D if you have very, very high prescription drug costs, okay? Long story short, the average federal employee, all they need to care about is Part A and Part B. Now, basically, long story short, is for federal employees, your FEHB acts like a Medicare supplement would for a non-federal employee. It acts as that basically fills the gaps of the Medicare. Okay, so the average federal employee, this is what they do. They have their FEHB plan, and on top of their FEHB plan, they have Medicare A and B. And when you're retired and you're in Medicare A and B, Medicare A and B becomes your primary, okay? And your FEHB becomes your secondary. So again, it acts in a very similar way as a Medicare supplement. So it's very rare, extremely rare, when a federal employee who's eligible to keep their FEHB gets anything like a Medicare supplement. They just keep their FEHB, which does the job of a Medicare supplement. And FEHB has tons of perks, like you can change your plan every single open season, even in retirement. If things change, if your expenses increase, your expenses decrease, whatever it might be, your prescription drugs need change, whatever, your doctors change, you move, you can change plans every single year, which is a massive, massive benefit. So long story short is yes, FEHB does act like a Medicare supplement, but know that FEHB plans, not all FEHB plans, play nicely with Medicare. Some play nicely, others don't, okay? Now, all FEHB plans are going to work at least fairly well with Medicare, but some work exceptionally well with Medicare. Some help reimburse some of the cost of Medicare Part B. Others are just really designed to merge explicitly well with Medicare. For example, FEHB is actually coming out with some Medicare Advantage plans that are specifically designed for those that are on Medicare. And the costs are extremely affordable. And again, they're just perfectly designed to meld. Some plans aren't designed to meld with Medicare. They're designed to be on their own standalone plan. Okay? So, food for thought. For example, this is a very common example. Blue Cross Standard, which is the most expensive Blue Cross Blue Shield plan, does not give you any reimbursement being on Medicare. They don't give you any, but Blue Cross Basic, which is one of the cheaper Blue Cross plans, they do give you a reimbursement for being on Medicare. Now, I'm not saying if you're on Medicare, you shouldn't be on standard. It really depends on your situation and your needs, but that's just an example of some plans specifically give you benefits for being on Medicare, others don't. So you want to look at your plan, whatever company you like working with. And I've got other videos looking at all the FEHB plans and trying to find a decision for you. But those are the things to consider, okay? So here's the deal. Here are some of the common strategies. By far, by a mile, the most common strategy here is, again, federal employees get on Medicare A and B once they turn 65 or when they retire, whatever is later, okay? And they keep their FEHB and they find an FEHB plan that is Medicare friendly and acts as a great Medicare supplement. It fills the gaps of their Medicare plan. And generally speaking, when you have both Medicare and FEHB, Medicare picks up whatever they're going to cover, and FEHB often is going to waive things like copays and deductibles, basically out-of-pocket costs. Most FEHB plans are going to waive the vast majority of those when you're on Medicare because they love Medicare being primary. Okay, so occasionally though, some federal employees will, let's say, not get on Medicare. It's rarer. The vast majority of the time, people do. Some of the common scenarios that people don't is when they have extremely high income. Okay, because Medicare Part B prices are based on your income. So if you have extremely high income, which most people don't have this problem and blessing, right? If you have extremely high income, Medicare Part B does get very expensive, and at that point there may be some more cost-effective ways outside of Medicare, but most of you, that's just not going to apply. Okay, so the vast majority of the time, again, Medicare A and B and FEHB act as your supplement. Find an FEHB plan that works well with Medicare, that gives you perks for being on Medicare, and that is, generally speaking, the best way to go. So I hope that's helpful. If you have any questions, again, about this topic or any other federal retirement topics, check out the website at hawsfederaladvisors.com. There's links to some helpful things below as well to make sure you guys can retire comfortable and confident. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys next time.